So it's been a year and 3 months since your principal assumed office. As a point of being sworn in, some say his biggest challenge is to prove that it's not just continuing the old political system, but bringing real change. After about 100 days, his biggest critics say this early period was mainly about stabilizing governance, continuing inherited projects and signaling his commitment to security and grassroots development. What has changed since Governor Duda assumed office?
Thank you very much. I would want to state the fact that the administration of His Excellency Alhaji Ahmed Usman Ododo, who prefers to be known as the chief servant of the state, came from the immediate past administration. And he was part of the immediate past administration for 8 years. He understood the policies, the programs, and also the driving points that were put in place to drive the state forward. And, coming into his administration, it is a mixture of what he is continuing from the immediate past administration and also his own initiatives and some of the policies that he has decided to put in place in order to advance the frontiers of development in the state. And there are key thematic areas of development. Number one of those areas is education. We also have healthcare delivery. We also have infrastructure. We also have a very aggressive drive for investment and also agriculture to be able to boost the economy of the state. And when you look at all of these areas, when you put them together, you see that the governor has performed so well in those thematic areas.
Interesting. And because you're talking about a 34-year-old state, and for many who have identified corruption and lack of accountability in governance, misplaced priorities, lack of inclusiveness of the people in governance, as some of the challenges that ravaged that state for so long. They look forward to a different nomenclature in describing a state like Kogi State. So let's start with education, just as you started. Before 2015, Kogi State's education landscape was a cause for worry. The performance of some of the students in external examinations like WAEC and NECO, even JAMB, was disheartening. But the administration of former governor, Yabelo, shocked many with that groundbreaking achievements in the education sector, which was the allocation of about 20%, 30% of the budget to education in each fiscal year since 2021. How is this administration consolidating on that achievement?
Thank you very much. You would see that consistently from 2016, we were funding education very heavily, devoting huge resources into education because we know that education is the bedrock of development. So as a result, we have been able to identify the key areas through which education could be developed. And one of the areas is to first improve education infrastructure. We must make public schools attractive to the people. The people of Kogi State, the children of Kogi State must have confidence in public institutions of learning. And that was the first thing that we were able to do. It was started with what we call the Blue Revolution. The Blue Revolution was to ensure that we have excellent environment for teaching and learning. And I would say that every political ward of the 232 in the state had blocks of classrooms that were constructed state of the art and also equipped. We had furniture, more than furniture, classroom furniture in all of those blocks of classrooms to first make the classrooms, public schools, attractive to the children and the people of Kogi State. That was the first step. The second step, when you work on the primary school education, you also have to look at the secondary school education. And what we started what we call the model secondary schools in the state. We had one at Dankolo here that had been reported over and over again. It's one of the best public schools in Nigeria today. We have the same model in Ida. We have the same model in Kogi Central. We have the same model that is ongoing at a village called Okebukun in Kababunu local government area of the state. So we have these model schools to take care of the secondary school level of education. And also to the tertiary level, it has been very massive. In the last few years, you've seen that Kogi State has established 2 new universities. And that's why, you know, till date, the Commissioner for Education of the state is touted as someone who was able to oversee the establishment of 2 state universities in the state. We already had one before that, which is the Prince Abubakar University. We have the Confluence University of Science and Technology, which is in Nosara. We also have the Kogi State University, which is in Kaba. And in all of these institutions, we are witnessing massive infrastructural development. We've turned all of those campuses to construction sites as we speak. Just last week, some projects were handed over to contractors in the Prince Abubakar University. And today, the governor was on hand at the Confluence University of Science and Technology to hand over also some projects that had to do with the construction of hostels for medical students and also quarters for doctors at the new Confluence University of Science and Technology Teaching Hospital in Okene. So these are some of the projects that are ongoing. Right. And also some months ago, hostel accommodation projects to get hostel accommodation for students were also handed over to us.
All right then, and no one needs to be told of how strategic this...
all of these projects in the state under the present dispensation. And I would be happy if you can allow me to deal with the last one. Okay. Having all of this infrastructure without teachers will always be a very serious issue. The difference between what we call the private schools and the public schools also has to do with the quality of staff that you have. And, you know, over and over again, consistently, the state has been employing teachers to be able to block that gap that has been noticed before 2015. So I would say that the present administration has been able to build on the legacy of the immediate past administration and have even surpassed that legacy, pumping more resources. And for the first time, you know, we are almost surpassing 30%, and the benchmark for UNESCO is 26%. That tells you that education is on the front burners as far as
so let's stay on this because